I am sharing some tricks and tips for the newbies out there that are about to enter into the workplace in order to help your resume be competitive. Before I jump into this video with some quick tips and tricks to writing your resume, I want to let you know that I was in your shoes, or maybe even like worse than where you are right now. I literally had zero job experience other than work study when I started applying for social work roles and jobs. And my very first job was actually a foster care counselor. So if I can land a job without any experience, you can too. Let's jump into my very first trick. Did you know that there are different types of resumes? Resumes for those that maybe have had lots of jobs that don't relate at all to the field you're going into. Resumes for those of you that do have that great experience. Congratulations for you. And resumes for those of us that don't have any experience at all. The second thing you need to know about writing your resume is that the job interviewers, the people that are looking at these resumes, are really not reading the whole entire thing. You really want to keep your resume to one page. If it goes over a page, it's unlikely that they're gonna flip the page or be flipping through a bunch of pages. You want to keep it to one page. If you can't fill a whole page, keep it to half a page. That being said, you don't want the font to be so tiny just to fit it all on one page. I'm really going to challenge you to take out all the fluff as far as the things that you don't really want to do in your next jobs. So if you have experience doing, maybe being on call, which was one of my experiences, being on call every other weekend, it's really not something I wanted to continue to do in future jobs. So that, even though it sounds really great to add into a resume, it sounds like you were dependent upon and things like that, I'm gonna take that out of the resume in general because it's not something I wanna do in the future. I really don't want my prospective employers to lean on me in that way. My last tip to writing your resume, and this is a big one. This is really big because as I mentioned earlier, we wanna make our resumes really easy to read. And just imagine having to read so many resumes. After a while, you wouldn't want to read a resume, and that's exactly what happens. So in order to make your resume competitive, one, you want to use bullets. Bullets are very important. We don't want paragraphs of things or personal statements that are too long. And even more so, on those bullet points, the very first word should be a verb. It should be what you did. Ideally, what you want to do, not things that you did and you don't want to do. Remember, we talked about that, but things that you want to do. So some words to include are facilitated, right? You facilitated groups. What else? Some other ones that I've used in the past are managed, maintained, right? Maintain databases. I'm trying to think of some other things. There's just so much that we do as social workers and so much that we do in non-social work roles too that are transferable. If you don't know about transferable skills, I talk a whole lot about this in my course, specifically for social workers that are wanting to go the clinical track. It can be a little tricky, so I have created a whole course to help you navigate that space. One of those being applying for clinical roles. So check out that course. It is a really good place to start if you don't know where to begin in that process. So there you have it, a quick little 3 tips to writing your resume and a whole course if you're wanting to go into clinical social work. Until next time, I am wishing you so much social work success. And I'm going to give you some tips. The loudest cars ever live here in my neighborhood. Sorry.